Hey everyone! The time has finally come for me to make this video. So after almost more than a year actually, my new book is coming out this August. It's this really nice little book right here. So much has happened since the creation of this book. I think I started around June 2021. I remember like working on it in April and work on the proposal in April, and then after June, announcing it in January. So much has happened. I'm also celebrating my 6 months or 7 months of moving to Berlin. It's been a while. And also it's my 7th year of being an artist and author, and it's also my 7th book. So I guess we're going to say it's a lucky number 7. It feels like such a full circle moment getting into creating this book and putting it out into the world, and I really hope you guys will like it. A quick backstory, actually, for me, this has got to be one of my biggest labors of love because I started in my creative career started actually not through journaling but through hand lettering, as most of you guys know or might not have known. But I had books on lettering. I made 3 books on lettering. I think I spent the first 3-4 years of my career working on hand lettering projects, calligraphy, and I really enjoyed it, but I just found other avenues of creativity that I felt I was more compelled to share, and not just in hand lettering. And that's where this whole idea of journaling came along. And actually, I feel I have like goosebumps like talking about it, but I have wanted to live in a new city for the longest time. I'm 29 now. When I was 21, that was the first time I was like, wait, I want to live abroad. And it's so timing that this book comes out the time that I am already living in a new city. And also the idea of traveling has always been something that something so special to me. Like, I love to travel, and I'm sure most of you do as well. And working on this book was so personal because not only did I have to create journal spreads, of course I did, and also like share a couple of mine. I also had to dig through my own travel archive and share some tips on traveling and how I try to make sense of everything around me, document them, and put them in my journal. I don't represent everyone who does travel journaling, but I like to think that maybe this book will have like some sort of idea on how you can document it your own way through the examples that I will share. So let's get right into the book. So here is a little walkthrough of the book for you, as promised. So the book has 128 pages, and it is full color, of course, and it is actually paperback, and it's a nice 7 by 10 inch size, so it's not big as my previous books were. We wanted this size because maybe you will bring it to your trips, maybe you want it as a reference guide, and it sort of has a similar dimensions with other journals like A5, TN size, and they kind of fit in this ecosystem, so I wanted to make sure that was sorted out from the beginning. So on the front we have the cover. The cover had so many different iterations, but we're really happy that this one was the final one that was chosen. And inside you have 7 chapters. So there is getting started, materials, telling stories, collecting composition, journal spread ideas, honing your habit, and guest artists. So I'm not going to share with you exactly every single page, but I'm just going to basically walk you through some of the key things that you'll find. So each chapter opens like this, which I'm really happy about. We made these opener spreads. We actually shot them, so these are actually my items. And every chapter you'll be greeted with this opening spread on what to expect for the chapter. Of course, you have basic terms. So if it's really new to travel journaling, this book will really guide you from start to finish because it really explains the different information and stories about how traveling started, and also how to start a travel journal. I also share the benefits of keeping a travel journal. So the first chapter really emphasizes on the idea of why you really want to have a journal and what you should do with it. And the next, the meaty part, goes to the materials portion. So for the materials, I had to sort through so many different materials and figure out what exactly to share, because apart from the actual art supplies, I also dove deep into fountain pens, of course, and watercolors, but also I had to share with you different types of papers, types of stationery that you can use, because people also are not familiar with stationery in general. Like, there are so many that you can actually use for traveling. Other tools like printers, typewriters. I also include an art kit. And this video, I also have a video on this actually that shows like what are the key things I bring when I'm traveling, as well as lessons on how to do some DIY projects for your materials. Next chapter is all about telling stories. So telling stories is really like how to plan your trip, how to figure out what you want out of your travels, different ways to document. So there's like a collage journal, there's illustrated, there's film. You know, there are many different ways to really document about your travels, and I just try to explore every single thing that you can find, even for digital purposes, right here. And then the next chapter is all about collecting composition, so figuring out how to create your spreads and what to do with all these things called ephemera. This will also give you a thorough guide into the types of ephemera, because there can be a lot, and how to organize your things, because all of these papers have to go somewhere, right? So I also share how to do a tutorial on making pockets. This was actually quite tricky to do. And painting your own postcards right here. I also share about collage in general, because the bulk of what I do for travel journaling is both like illustration and collage. So for collage, like how do you do compositions, how to manage the color schemes, and how to make a zine as well. If you want to just do a zine, you can also look at this book for inspiration how to do that. It can be quite technical, but everything is just within this book, so I'm really happy about that. And this one is actually, I think, the most important part of the book, and also one of my favorites. This was called Journal Spread Ideas. So Journal Spread Ideas really focuses on the different types of journals that you can make, like art-heavy journals, text-heavy journals, as well as themed journal spreads. So for example, like with drawing architecture, like how do you get started in that category. There's also bits about my own travel journal sample, so you can see documenting food if you're a foodie, as well as trip highlights. This is, I guess, the most common one that I like to do. Trip highlights really focuses on summarizing your trip in one spread or something like that. And then there's also one about museums and galleries. So if you're an art junkie like me, it's a really great way to see things and document all your adventures in museums and galleries. Lastly, also if you're on a road trip, like how do you document using like a small notebook, like something pocket friendly, then this is a really great guide to try it out. There's even a short tutorial about hand lettering, of course. We will not forget that, because that's where I started. And there are also like ways on how to incorporate hand lettering to your travel journals. Also, I share some color palette ideas on how to tell stories, like figuring out what color palettes to use for your journal spreads depending on seasons or depending on the theme of like the color scheme of the country. Sometimes I have that. And the last meaty text-heavy chapter is about honing your habit. So this really tackles a lot about how to find your journaling style, you know, how to unlock your creative process, how to stay committed to journaling, and how to journal regularly. Fun fact, this picture was actually taken in a Starbucks, and we were like, could we borrow that mug? So technically that mug is empty, but you know, just some insider stuff. And I also have a whole lot of photos that I've shared in this book. I mean, I've traveled extensively the past few years. It's always nice to see everything just here with the publishing of this book, and it's like outside the Instagram grid kind of. And then lastly, for the guest artists, I've invited guest artists to share some of their journals. So these are my dear friends and really amazing people who are really great on Instagram and have YouTube channels. So we have Jane the Crazy, we have Julia, Melissa, Mel is really great. She's from Singapore. Helen, we also pulled artists from different countries. So Jane's from Malaysia. Julia is from Sweden. Mel's from Singapore, as I mentioned. Helen of Journal with Purpose is from the UK. Job, of course, Job's Journal from Vancouver. Yulia is from Japan. I love Yulia's illustrations and paintings. And then CH, Christine from Berkeley of Everyday Explorers Co. Chelsea from San Francisco. Mitz, My Life Mitz from Japan as well. Also Eri, who is behind Sakura Lala, also from Japan. And lastly, Kaylee, who now lives in Germany and she's South African and she's the fairy art mother of Get Messy. So lastly, we have the resources and acknowledgements page. And of course, my favorite page, it's the About the Author page. Fun fact, I actually had to ask them to add in the fact that I now live in Berlin, Germany, because upon the submission of this book, that wasn't still a thing. So lastly, you have the index, so this will make it easier for you to find some terms. And yeah, that's a little quick flip through of the book. So there you go. So that is it for a little flip through of the book. I do hope you enjoyed it, and I'm going to keep mentioning this over and over, but if you'd like to get a copy, you can do so by clicking the link down below. It's available on Amazon. It's also available at bookstores worldwide. And in the Philippines, my hometown, home country, I know a lot of you have been asking like where to pre-order, and I just got news about it, so make sure to pre-order at National Bookstore. National Bookstore has been distributing my books that have been published in the US since Hand Lettering A to Z, which was in 2017. I'm super grateful that they bring my books to the Philippine market. And then in Germany, you can find them at bookstores here. I'm just not sure when the German edition will come out. Usually it comes out a few months after the publication, or next year, maybe in 2023. But for convenience purposes, just order it Amazon. I think that would be doable. There's so much things I want to say. Wow, I feel like I'm accepting an Academy Award. But the creation of this book would not have been possible without you. Even if you just watched this video and it randomly appeared on your home feed. To all my subscribers, to my patrons, to my followers, to people who have followed my work somehow on the internet and found me thanks to the wonders of the World Wide Web. Thank you so much, because the fact that I am able to do work online is such a big feat in itself. Sometimes I feel like it's so stressful, it's so tiring, but also at the end of the day, I get to do amazing things. I get to travel the world. I get to meet so many amazing people. Most of the people that I've met are through Patreon, and now they're my really good friends. And I am really grateful for the support. I want to thank my family, of course, for all the moral support, and my friends. My friends is the first group of people that sees everything that happens to me, and I always like to tell them about my whereabouts, my thoughts, and how this book came about. I also want to thank the team that helped make this happen. So Janine is my editor, who pitched this idea to me many years ago and revisited it later in life in 2021. So that was really a surprise. I felt like it was really time to write this book. I also want to thank the folks at Quarto Publishing Group for making this book possible. So my publisher is Query Books, and it's under the Quarto Publishing Group in the US. They've been publishing my books since 2017, since my hand lettering days, and now it's like, wow, it's travel journaling time. Next up, I want to thank the people I've worked closely with in creating the book. So first is Cherry, my photographer. She's the one who took a picture of this, as well as the other photos you'll find inside the book. Some were supplemented by me, but we did most of the how-tos and instructional ones, and we did it in the middle of a pandemic. it was very difficult. There were like different surges during the times that we were working on it, but we managed to pull through. So thank you so much to Cherry for all your help and for taking photos, because I don't think I could have done it alone. Also to my research assistant, I call it editorial assistant, to Stacy for helping out and doing a lot of deep dives into things like the history of journaling. I also wanted to fact check everything that I've been doing, because I can't just share what I know and then think that is factually correct, right? So I also wanted to get into theoretical stuff and facts, so some of them you'll find in the book. So thank you so much to Stacy. So last but not the least, I want to give a special shout out to some of the amazing people who have helped me specifically on my creative journey. So the first one is Coco, my publisher from Summit Books. So my US publisher actually discovered me thanks to my first book, The ABCs of Hand Lettering. And I clearly remember so many things that had happened when I decided to write that first book. Well, first of all, I quit my job. Second is I was able to work on other books, journaling, more lettering books, have my work published in an international audience. Sometimes I need to like pinch myself that I actually get to do this. And every time I go to like a random bookstore and I see my book translated in some different language, I get like a bit of like, oh my gosh, you're actually pretty cool. I can be really hard on myself. So yeah, I don't think this would have been possible. I've always thought being an author could be a job that I could get to, but I never really knew how to get there. So having people see the potential in me is always so important. Whew. This is literally like getting an Oscar award. Second one is to CH. So I met CH through Coco and she's like my biz BFF. I think it's really difficult to have someone who understands what you do for work, and having people by my side like listening and like giving advice and just being there, not physically but you know, on chat. For me, that is super valuable. So thank you, CH. Oh my god, I didn't expect to cry. Also to my team for, you know, helping me out like throughout the time that I was writing the book. I had to split, I guess, myself into different pieces and parts because I had so much work to do, from running the shop to making YouTube videos, the same time that I was writing and illustrating and working on the book. So I really want to thank everyone who has been part of this endeavor, from my team, Sophie, Louis, Lara, Glai, who is also working closely with me at the moment with everything, like all the admin stuff and for the shop, and of course Kaz, who's editing this video, and Yain. Super thank you for all your help. And I also want to thank Ellen for always helping me out, especially during this time and settling into Germany and like figuring out this whole work situation. So yeah, I owe a lot to a lot of people. And of course, I wanted to thank my past self, because I did not know what to expect. But sometimes I feel like I work too hard, but also I do know that I'm able to get through where I want to go, literally and figuratively. So yeah, I want to thank my past self for doing that, because I don't know, this feels like a full circle moment for like the past 7 years. I always felt like it's either I wasn't doing enough or I worked too hard. I'm not giving myself the ability to live as an artist. I just work as an artist, and I just hope to find more of that now that I'm living in a city I've always dreamed of visiting and moving to. So yeah. Plus, I want to thank all my friends in Berlin, because they know how much of a struggle everything has been, from moving here to like getting this book out into the world, and like everything coinciding in this year, in 2022. So yeah, it's been quite a journey, to say the least. But yeah, I didn't expect to cry like that. I get really emotional about my job because it's something that I always feel like I couldn't justify, but also I'm so proud of creating a job for myself because I couldn't find a way to fit in what job I was supposed to have, you know, I grew up in an environment that didn't really present the idea of being an artist to me. I had to find my way out of it and figure it out on my own. Even this whole idea of traveling and making things worth their while and making everything possible has been always such a hurdle for someone like me. And I've always had this judgment that I don't think I could make it. And honestly, I don't even know who says that I can't make it. Anyone can make it, you know? And I think that's something I'm going to leave by to end this video. Last plug, do let me know if you were able to get your copies, if you pre-ordered, and if you got it, and if you're traveling with it. Please tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see it. I'm also gonna put the official hashtag below. It could be quite long because it's a long title, but you get the idea. So thank you once again for watching this video. Did not expect to turn it to that emotional damaging bit. But yeah, lastly, I wanted to say that we might have a Patreon celebration of the book at some point. I don't know when. And also, if you live in insert city here, insert country here, and you'd like to host a workshop or organize something virtually, you can get in touch with me and we can plan something out. Definitely, I'm super open to teaching workshops or doing a lot of promoting this book. So that would be great. Thank you so much for watching this cry fest. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you get a copy of my book. And if you are not convinced yet, maybe you can watch my other travel and journaling videos so that you get a glimpse of how I document, and maybe it resonates with you, maybe it doesn't. But either way, thanks so much for watching this video. Always be creating, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye!